Brock Purdy, 5 turnovers in 2 games played, 3 in the second half alone. You can't do that. And they should be disgusted with how they played today on defense, on special teams, and especially on offense. This was one of the worst games he's ever played in a Niner uniform that is based on you still having a chance to win. Brock Purdy should hang his head low after this one.
The Niners played all the way around one of the worst games I can remember this team playing in quite a long time. And that's saying something considering what we went through in last year's 6-11 season.
This may have been one of the ugliest games San Francisco still had a chance to win late with 2.5 minutes left in my entire lifetime. And I lived through some really bad. We've lived through some really bad 49ers teams. Tim Rattay, Kenny Pickett, no offense, no defense. 2014, they went 2-14. They were terrible. They couldn't do anything. And when your franchise quarterback comes back off a toe injury, which clearly still bothered him, and he turns the ball over 3 times, and I get it, you expect there's going to be some rust. There's going to be some issues early. The issues permeated the entire game. The Niners came out flat-footed on defense. The offense had no momentum. They couldn't run the football. And every time Jacksonville tried to put the game in their hands and say, hey, here it is for the taking, San Francisco said, fumble, interception. They could not put a grasp on this game, on the football itself, for 3.5, 4 quarters. They had no business even being near a potential victory in this game late. They were terrible from the get-go on all 3 phases. Yep. You want to talk about being 3-0? Oh, 2024 is behind us. No, 2024 said, hey, you miss me? Here's Johnny right again. And this Niners team, I don't know how you feel about this, Mark, but all the good things they did, is it chalked up to, it's one bad game, they're at home, Brock Purdy's back, you guys got hurt? Or is this just the fact is, maybe you played the Saints, maybe you played the Cardinals, maybe you played a good Seahawks team, but you got really lucky at the end? I can guarantee you, part of this fan base will say, I'm rethinking where I see my 49ers going in 2025 now.
You mentioned special teams. There was, of course, the punt return for a touchdown by Jacksonville. Parker Washington with an 87-yard punt return for a touchdown, the only touchdown that this Jacksonville offense scored in the second half. The Niner defense gave them every chance that they possibly could in the second half, gave their offense every chance they possibly could, but it was not enough. That's a special teams issue. Defensively, largely, I think it was a fine performance. There were some bad ones. On the ground, ETN really hurt the 49ers. He had a 48-yard touchdown run. Now, that came immediately after a Niner turnover, and all of the Jacksonville points early, their touchdowns came right off of Niner turnovers, so you're putting your defense in tough spots, but still, this wasn't as stingy of a performance defensively by the Niners as in the past. There were some penalties as well. And then offensively, Sterling, I mean, take your pick. You want to talk about the turnovers? 4 of them. Jacksonville didn't turn the ball over once. Jacksonville, is the best defense in the NFL in terms of forcing turnovers. I believe that's now 13 takeaways in their 4 games so far this year. They're absolutely amazing at that, and they dominated the Niners in that category. Do you want to talk about drops? I think I counted 6 of them, Sterling. Is that right? 6 drops by Niners pass catchers today. 3 by Kendrick Bourne, 2 by Christian McCaffrey, 1 by Juwan Jennings. It was kind of a tough one on the goal line, but I think Brock Purdy actually put that one where it was supposed to be, low and away from a defender. Juwan's got to catch that, but 6, depending on how you define a drop, 5 or 6 drops, and a lot of them in really, really big moments. And the run game still not being able to do anything in this one. It's hard to find a single area, Sterling, where you can look and honestly say the Niners, they did well in that specific area. It felt like in every area of this football game, the Niners fell short to Jacksonville, and it was not particularly close. This final score, I don't even know how it was this close. You said you don't understand how they had a chance to win this game at the end. I don't know if any of us do. It makes no sense the way that this Niner team played, that they had legitimately had a pretty good shot to win this game in the fourth quarter, yet it was the 4th and final turnover that did them in.
And you know what's crazy, Mark, is that every time the Jaguars gave the ball back to San Francisco, and to this defense's credit, They played bend, don't break almost the entire second half. They gave a Brock Purdy-led offense that, albeit didn't have Pearsall late in the game because he got hurt. Jennings was on and off the football field. Demarcus Robinson barely played in this game, which I don't know what's going on there.
Made one big
you don't
catch.
have George Kittle still.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, there are reasons for the offense to struggle. But we have seen through now 4 games, this defense is clearly head and shoulders above the offense. They give this offense every chance to score touchdowns. This team still has red zone problems. This team still can't run the football. And this defense, Robert Saleh, those guys, for as bad as they were in that first half, getting gashed off offensive turnovers, they came to fight in that second half. Get a big third 3-and-out forced on the first drive, had a near INT that was overturned because of penalty, which I thought was shoddy, but I digress. You still had a chance to score points, and you couldn't do it. This defense tightened things up. They made the adjustments. And even when Shanahan did a good job getting momentum, getting tempo in the offense, here comes a fumble. Here comes a bad Brock Purdy interception, which Brock Purdy, 5 turnovers in 2 games played, 3 in the second half alone. You can't do that. You can't do that and win football games. San Francisco, I think this team can still be a playoff team, but clearly they have a lot of things they still have to work out. I don't care if it's Brant Boyer, Brian Schneider, Hightower, it doesn't matter. Special teams is still a disaster. You cannot allow that many momentum swings and not take momentum when the opposing team gives it to you. They had no right to be in this game. They had no right to win this game. Oh, the weather's cloudy. San Francisco came out like they were flat-footed from the jump, and they should be disgusted with how they played today. On defense, on special teams, and especially on offense. Brock Purdy should hang his head low after this one.
I feel like a lot of this, Sterling, there's so many negatives that we can talk about. A lot of this is going to be about Brock Purdy, and I can already feel the conversation, shifting towards, well, Mac Jones was 2-0, and I don't mean to make it about Mac Jones. I think that's where a lot of this will go. We'll see. You laid out some of the numbers for Brock Purdy just this season in the 2 games that he's played. Now 4 turnovers in those 2 games. Interceptions often down the stretch last year. And that was kind of a different story because the Niners obviously were pressing at times in those games. But we've got a pretty solid stretch of games for Brock Purdy, Sterling, going back to last year where he consistently has not been taking care of the football and not been playing clean football. And today especially is, example number 1 of, I guess I'll ask you this. This feels like the worst game Brock Purdy has played purely in terms of taking care of the football. Made a couple throws, still threw 309 yards and 2 touchdowns, but that all goes away with 2 interceptions. One was one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen, and a bad fumble in the fourth quarter. This is one of the worst Brock Purdy games that I can ever remember him playing. The one that comes to mind is Christmas night versus the Ravens a couple years ago. But this one's got to be up there.
But even that game on Christmas, you felt like, okay, it's Christmas. The Ravens are coming out. They're playing great football.
And
You're having a great
they're
season.
down 20, and you had to throw for it at the end anyway.
Whatever. You can chalk it up to you being a great team having a bad night. And clearly the Niners were great that year. They went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This team, and we've talked about it through 3 games now, 1-score games. Can you overcome the 1-score game? Can you put a drive together late? And they have done that through 3 games. Now game 4. Brock Purdy comes out, and I don't know what your expectations were for him, but yes, this was one of the worst games he's ever played in a Niner uniform that is based on you still having a chance to win. We have never seen Brock play this bad late in games without maybe some weapons. I get that, but you're in the game. You're paid $53 million to make drives like that. And I get it. The last fumble, McCaffrey doesn't get out of the fake and the guy gets beaten. Okay, that's tough. The pocket collapsing is not Brock Purdy's fault. Okay, he has a hurt toe. Can he scramble? Didn't seem to affect him too much on the run in this game, but how many high-pointed balls did we see? How many overthrows did we see continually through 4 quarters? He never found rhythm. There was never momentum. He was inaccurate the entire day, essentially. And yeah, there was some drops, but this was Brock Purdy's worst game since 2022 when he first came in against the Dolphins. This team had a chance to win. He's paid to carry this team to victories when Kittle's not in the football game, when there's no Brandon Ayuk, when there's no Pearsall, when there's no Juwan Jennings, when he doesn't have his guys, when the run game is not working. While it may be harder, these are games he's paid to win. When how bad you've been, it's supposed to be, wow, they gave Brock Purdy one final chance, and that was the difference. You're paid like an elite quarterback, better play like an elite quarterback when it's all said and done. He didn't do that. He was terrible today. I would not be shocked if he has the most turnovers in the entire league by the end of week 4 for starting quarterbacks. That's how bad he's been this season through 2 games.